So I'll start the recording process. Okay, so this is exactly where we are. Thank you very much, everybody. So we started from here, write the vision, successfully planning, executing, and achieving your goals for 2022. That's very critical. And the reason why we're doing this is because we need to properly, document where we want to be at the end of 2022. The Bible says declaring the end from the beginning. That's exactly what God does. So now that we are starting the year, it's important for us to declare ahead what we want to be able to achieve before the year ends. So is a fundamental attribute of the Almighty God, where we declare the end from the beginning by making sure we document exactly what we want to achieve in this year. Now, just about that, we talked about this. We opened with the writing scripture that says, write the vision, make it plain upon tables so that he that reads it may run. Now, we broke this down a little before we started recording. Now, for the purpose of those that are going to see this content later on, I want to go back one step. Now, to write the vision, it's not enough to just, dream and have imaginary ideas of what you want to do. It's important for you to document that vision. That is very critical. And thank God for the kind of training I got earlier on where I worship. They taught us what our goal setting and planning. It really helped me. And even till today, I still do. It still does. Now, when you write your vision, it gives life to that vision. You're more like you're breath of fresh air into that vision when you write that vision down. Then it says, make it plain upon tables. Now, make it plain upon tables is that you're going to have a detailed plan on how you want to execute and achieve that vision. So that is that other aspect. And now said, so that he that reads it may run. Now, so that when you pick up that vision that you have written, when you read it, it prompts you and inspires you to take action. That's exactly what it is. Then if your friends are privileged to that vision that you have written as well, and they are very, very positive kind of friends around you, they also will want to see the need why they will want to take the necessary course of action when they read the vision as well. So it's important. So if you look at the image by my side, you see purpose, you see vision, you see planning, you see execution. That's execute. So we've talked about the vision already. It's all part of this side. We talked about planning, we talked about execution. We're still going to detailing as we go on the other slides. But there's something we need to talk about first. Your vision is drawn out of your purpose. And that's very, very important. Now, you need to find out what your purpose is in life. A lot of young people are in what they call identity crisis. They really don't know what they are called to do or what they want to do with their life. And because of identity crisis, they jump into what they call the rat race. The rat race is just following the system, and one day you get stuck and one day you get frustrated. Now, the pathway to fulfillment in life is for you to find out your purpose. Then you craft a vision in line with that purpose. Then you align a plan in line with that vision. Then you begin to execute in line with that plan so that you can fulfill the vision, so you can achieve your purpose. Now, when you eventually do that, then you enter into the realm of fulfillment. So, having said that, in crafting your vision, so if you notice the trajectory of this conversation, we're going beyond just achieving your goals for 2022. We have dovetailed into a larger picture, crafting your life's vision and fulfilling purpose. 2022 is just one item on that block. So you now need to ask yourself, what do I need to do? So the vision stems from what I call that the purpose. Then afterwards, you craft your vision from that life's purpose. Then you have what I call a plan in executing that vision, and you now go on to take the necessary course of action. Now, the biggest problem here is, how do I know what my purpose is? That is where the biggest challenge is. Now, a lot of people, I talked about identity crisis. Identity crisis is when young people, they write JAMB, look at the trajectory. Primary school, secondary school, you write WAEC examinations, you do your JAMB examinations, or you take foreign exams and you go to a university. Bad enough, universities can only accommodate maybe about 15% of people that write JAMB. And only about 10% of the people will get their first choice. The other 40% of people that will be admitted will be given, courses that they do not want to study. Now, because of the pressure to go to school, what happens? People jump at the admission and spend the rest 4 years running around courses that they don't have any, that is not tied to their long-term or short-term vision and purpose. And now they leave school. Now, when they leave school, they have what they call the pressure to to start earning a living. So they jump at any job that comes their way. And it's not feeding back into, what the long-term purpose is. Now, it's important for you to find out what your purpose is very, very clearly. Now, if you have not done that, if you have not been able to, find that out, you need to use your January to really find out your why. Now, what is purpose? Before we now dig deep into that purpose, I like this man. This man found his purpose. I'm sure you know who he is. This is the great Nelson Mandela. Now, he said, vision without action is just a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. And vision with action can change the world. So that's why we're having this conversation. You're not here. I see that a good number of us are here, about 34 of us are here. So minus the speaker, that's where 33. The goal of this session is to see that we all rise up at our various points and see how to craft a vision that transcends us and our family, and see how we can impact the world for good. That's only when we can really, really have done something very critical in time. Now, so we see the life of Nelson Mandela. I know you know the story. He discovered something around this situation, and he staked the entire life. He staked his life. He fought the apartheid regime in South Africa when it was literally impossible at that time. And, it took some steps, and he landed in prison. But unknowing to him, that was destiny calling. The 26 years he spent in prison, by the time he was being released, apartheid was over, and he went on to become the first Black president of South Africa. Now, that's not all. He became one of the greatest men that ever lived on this earth. Now, the day Mandela died, all the world stood still. Mandela was the only person living at that time, I think even till now, that had a permanent seat in the United Nations. That's one human being. And if you read his biography and read his thought, you'll see that this is more of a collection of visions and ideas. And this is one of his quotes. And for as long as this world remains, maybe in the next 100 to 500 years, we'll still be talking about Mandela. That is just to tell you the enormous, personality that can come out when people, find their purpose, craft a vision, and begin to execute in line with that vision, even when it's going to cost them their lives. All right, so let's go back to the purpose question. We said something earlier. Okay. Sorry. Okay. This was where we're coming from before we saw the Mandela. The vision, the planning, the execution. So we're looking at something bigger right now. We have to call our vision from our purpose. So how do I find my purpose? That's always one major question. So what's the purpose question? Now, purpose is the reason why someone or something is created or was created. That's what purpose is all about. Now ask yourself, why are you on earth and what problems were you created to solve? Now, those questions look quite simple, but it will take a whole lot of, earth searching for you to be able to unravel such a thing. Now, the purpose journey is a process of self-discovery. And by the time you find out what is it that you were called to do, you now understand that it's going to help reshape your direction, help shape, your altitudes, help shape virtually every single thing in your life. So, and you need to find that, and you need to find it. And you need to find it early enough. But should I also shock you? It's really not so far away, because everything that God has created you to be, God has put it inside you already before you were born. And that's the most significant mystery about purpose. Every single thing that you were created to be, and every single thing that will help you to be what you need to be, has been deposited in you before you were born. So, but your responsibility will be to find it. And that's why I like one very important scripture that says that it's the glory of God to conceal a thing and the honor of kings to search out a matter. So God delights to conceal. But we have to dig deep into ourselves to be able to unravel that God has deposited within us. So let's continue. What is purpose? So we just said that. Why a thing is created. Now, when purpose is unknown, what happens? Abuse is what? Inevitable. That's exactly what Miles Monroe said. How do I find my purpose? 3 ways to go about it. Number one, you look up. Now you talk to God, you connect to God about it, because he's the source, he's the creator, and he knows exactly what you were, set out to do from the day you were born. Now, aside that too, you can also look in. You look at your giftings, your talents, your potentials. You look straight into what giftings that you have, because your gift, your potentials, your talent is a pointer to the problems you were born to solve. So you have a responsibility to identify your giftings, identify your potentials, identify your I talked about your giftings, your potentials, and develop them to become the best in what you do, because that giftings, potentials, they are a pointer to the kind of problems and kind of things that you were created to come and solve. Then also look out. What are those things that upset you? What are those gaps that you have seen in your society? What are those things that makes you angry? What are those things that gives you dissatisfaction? Like for Mandela, that was one of the pointers. He saw the apartheid regime and was like, no, this can't continue. He was so dissatisfied. It angered him so much, and he propelled everything he had to be able to fight that. He was not the only lawyer in his days, but he stood out, and today we will not forget. So how do I find my purpose? I mean, you invest in yourself to find your purpose. You go after materials of people that have done so much. I talk about looking inside, digging deep, searching out strong, and seeing how we can do these things very, 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 very sharply. And that's very important. You look up, you look in, you look out. So let's move quickly. So what next? After the purpose question, then we'll come back to what's the vision. Clearly, I mean, a vision is a big picture of what you want to become and of the kind of impact you want to make in the world around you. So what's the big picture of what you want to become and what kind of impact you want to make in the world around you? So if you just want to, if your vision is just to take care of your family, have a good life, I mean, that's not compelling enough. Yes, your vision should be able to transcend beyond just you and your conveniences, and see how to impact the world around you. That's very, very strong. There's this scripture that says that the next expectations of all creations, they await the manifestations of the sons of God. So you need to understand that every people the various problems we have in this world, are tied to people's giftings and people's skill set to be able to solve those problems. Now, your capacity to be able to identify your giftings, build capacity to expertise, and able to provide those solutions in a very unique way begins to give you value across board. So in summary, that's a vision. A vision is that big picture of what you want to become and of the kind of impact you want to make in the world around you. So do you have a vision, and have you written your vision? Now, why write the vision? That's important. Why do I need to write my vision? Yes, Albert Einstein told us that the faintest ink is sharper than the wisest brain. That's one of the reasons why you need to write your vision. The human mind can be distracted. So you need to put pen to paper, very, very importantly. So you have it also, when you write your vision, you have succeeded to what? To give life to the vision. That's what you've done. You've given it life. So it has started to exist. By the time you take it from the imaginative realm and you begin to put it in the reality realm, then it enables you to have clarity of direction. That's another reason why. It gives you a lot of clarity of what you want to do, what you want to become, and how you want to get there. Then it also helps you to define, proper course of action. That's, define action plans. Then when you write those visions, it helps you to, to track your progress and also review where you are per time. I remember before I went for NYC, I had a 10-year plan, a 10-year vision, which I documented, a vision 20, and the vision was for when I turned, 40 years, 2021. Coincidentally, that was just last year. And back then, about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I had to create an 11-year plan of what I want to do with my life. And God being faithful, He helped me to keep to these plans, keep to these visions. And it has been amazing. And there's still a lot of grounds to cover, but we're grateful for how far we have come. And I want to encourage every one of us on this call to be very, 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 articulate in the kind of things we want to do with our lives. Then another reason why we should write the vision is because God commands it. I just read to you where He says, write the vision, make it plain upon the table so that he that reads it may run. All right, as we go on. So your life's vision is not what you have or what you don't have. Please take note. It doesn't have to do with anything material. And it has nothing to do with what people say or do not say about you. It has nothing to do with how much money you have, how much money you don't have. It has nothing to do whether you are a CEO or a janitor. It has nothing to do if you completely understand it or if you do not even understand it at all. So what have I just said? It's inside you. It's something that burns inside you. It's something that, that you desire so much. It's something that makes you want to do, what you want to do. So your life's vision is something that propels you to think, that propels you, something that just keeps you going. And if you have not discovered it yet, keep asking questions, keep, digesting materials. I want to recommend the Miles Morrow's 3 books to us, maximizing your potential, identifying your potentials, about three book series like that will enable you to be able to dig deep into yourself and understand the potentials and the giftings that God has placed into you, how you can identify, how you can develop, and how you can maximize. All right, let's move on. So what does the scripture say about these things? It said, prepare thy work without, make it fit for thyself in the field, and afterwards build thine house. That's the importance of preparation. This importance of planning, and this is the importance of execution. Now it says the preparation of the heart is in man, and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord, meaning that there's a human divine partnership. Some people are just waiting for breakthrough to happen. For goodness sake, it doesn't work that way. You just do 7 days prayer and fasting, no plan, no goals. no course of action. God is not a magician. So the preparation of the heart is in man. So you are going to prepare and say, God, this and this and this I want to achieve. And then the Lord begins to, release the answer of the tongue. Now, it says the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings to search out a matter. I've said that already. We have the responsibility to dig deep into ourselves to be able to search out those wonderful treasures that God has put into us. I'm rounding up. It's about this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth to those things which are before. What that means to say is that, friends, you might have had some very exciting success in the time past, but you have a responsibility at this point in time to focus and to keep track of what you need to do so that you can reach the fullness of your potentials. So you have a responsibility to ensure that you keep going and you don't look back. So how do I stay on course? What do I need to do to achieve the vision? Achieving your vision, what to do to realize the vision. Number one, you need what they call adequate preparation. We can't overemphasize that. It's very, very important. You need adequate planning, rather. Yes. Now, adequate planning, clear written goals with timelines. This will take you a couple of days and even a couple of weeks, depending on, what kind of timeline of the visions you're planning for. And I talked about, the big vision. Now, when you're planning, we have what they call the short-term plans, because you won't have short-term goals. You have your midterm goals and your long-term goals. So your adequate planning, if you're planning for 1 year, for instance, that's a short-term planning. So you ask yourself, in 2022, what do I want to achieve? So what do I want to do? And it should encompass the various departments of your life. So you ask yourself, in my spiritual walk with God, what do I want to achieve? In my career, what do I want to achieve? In my business, what do I want to do? Now, those are goal setting. Now, but your overall vision as a person, in line with your purpose, it has to be very, very clear. And from that purpose, you write a vision, you now begin to, create a plan. And those plans are in forms of yearly goals and quarterly, strategic plans and monthly targets, just to ensure that you keep in line with what you are doing. So what we'll do is that you have that long-term vision in line with your purpose. Then you now begin to build, checks. You now have your yearly goals, you have your quarterly strategic plan, you have your monthly targets, you have your weekly tasks, and you have your daily activities. I'm sure you can see where I'm going to. You are cascading everything into simple steps in order to reach the big picture. Then also, in adequate planning, you also need to outline strategies on how to achieve them. That's very, very, very important. Now, in doing that also, having done that, then there's some things you need to take very, very seriously. And one is, which I cannot overemphasize, and that's the place of personal discovery. You need to identify your God-given gifts, potentials, and talents, develop them, and be the best. That's very critical. Now, in identifying God's giftings and potentials and talents upon your life, you need to do a lot of soul searching. I told you, you can look up. That's one way. Connect to God. That's a very formidable way. You can look in, and even when you look up, you still have to look in. So you won't bypass that process. You still have to look inwards, and that's your own personal, search into what. I remember when I was on campus, I can see one of my very good friends and leaders on campus here on this call. I schooled in Ado-Ekiti, University of Ado-Ekiti. And when I got into school, I did 7 days prayer and fasting. I've not told a lot of people this. And I told God, I just don't want to leave this school like everybody's leaving. So, before I got into university, I did diploma, so I had a first class, 4.76, So maybe first class was natural, but I just wanted something more than first class. So I did a 7 days prayer and fasting. And on the 6th day, I always go to the main campus church to pray all those 7 days. On the 6 days, it was very, very clear. The Lord gave me a very strong word. So it's good to pray, it's good to fast, but they have to be in line with, what you want to achieve. But I began to ask myself questions. What do I want to be? So I picked up a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read that book and I started, a war started inside me. Do I go the entrepreneur route? Do I go the employer route? Now that's part of personal discovery. Now, and my friends told me, whenever I take tutorials, Koyejo, you can lecture, maybe you're going to be a professor. I didn't want to be it. So sometimes what you really don't like is also a pointer to what you don't want to become, honestly speaking. Things that you read that doesn't excite you is a pointer to the things that you don't want to become. So I didn't see lecturing as very exciting, very innovative and all that. So by the way, so what I started doing was buying books. Then do you know that far away in Ado-Ekiti, I met my paths crossed with a man called Reverend Tunde Afe. I will never forget him. And Reverend Tunde Afe just got speaking. I did my second IT in his place and like that. But what I learned from Reverend Tunde Afe was this. It talks about personal packaging and all that. But the most revealing of all of it was that he did a program one day in school and he told the participants to pay 10,000. Now, this was 2006, 2005, 2006. And because I was on a journey of personal discovery, I wanted to find out more. So I was going for conferences, I was going for seminars, I was reading books. And it was important for me. So that's the path that we all have to take in order to find out the gold and the jewels that God has put inside us. So one of those seminars, he said the attendant, the payment was 10,000, and it was one day, not, and somebody was coming from Lagos to come and speak. So I had 5,000. I went to meet with him. I said, sir, I have just 5,000. I don't have up to 10,000. I was surprised. Yeah, please come. So he was not even looking for people to pay to attend. He was looking for people that had the vision. Because 10,000 alone was going to deter a lot of, students. They won't want to even show up. 500 naira, they don't even want to pay. You get. But when I went to that conference till today, we're just about 25 in that meeting. SJ George came from Lagos to come and speak at that meeting. SJ George was the only guest speaker. And when SJ George finished speaking, he spoke some huge things into our lives that day. And then I'd already started the company. But where I'm going to was that these were the processes of personal discovery. And I remember when Miles Moro came to Lagos, on hearing that Miles Moro was coming to Lagos, he was coming to Covenant Christian Center. Friends, I was there. I sat down for 2 hours. That was the first time I listened to somebody speak for 2 hours and I did not blink. And he did not have a paper he was reading from. I was like, what is this? I was born again. I almost came out for altar call. I am telling you, I've been born again for over 15 years that time. Not because I was a sinner, but the dimensions at which he was speaking was amazing. And I was blessed. That was in 2011 when Miles Moro of blessed memory. It was great. So these were the processes. I remember when I came back from that meeting and somebody was asking, why the rush? Why are you rushing? Why are you jumping from one meeting? I said, no. It's what drives you from the inside. The vision that you see from the inside is what propels you. Until today, I have not stopped, combing materials, sitting down with mentors, going to people that know better than myself to see how to, get as necessary, all the necessary, punches and all the necessary strengths and articulation required to fulfill a God-given vision. What else do you need to do to achieve your vision? You need to take action. Excuse me. You need to swing into action and full implementation of the vision. Constantly tracking your progress. So in 300 level, I knew I was going to build a company. I didn't know how to go about it. So I think God answered my prayers. I didn't even know. I said, God, I don't want to leave this campus like just any other person. So in my mind, I thought I was going to be, one of the best graduating students, blah, 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 blah. In fact, I even had a carryover. My brother on this call, can relate with that. Okay, he's still here. Yes, I mean, I had so it was looking, but I look back, I said, oh, that prayer, that 7 days prayer and fasting I had in 200 level, God actually answered my prayers, because in final year, we started a company, and by God's grace, that company is doing fantastic. We had a partnership with Lagos State government in August this year, and all the Lagos State schools, 650 schools, are on our platform. We're serving over 700,000 students in Lagos State, and we're just starting. And the federal government of Nigeria sent a delegation to understudy what we're doing with Lagos State. And that was very, very massive. So that's exactly what it is. And do you know also, when we're leaving school, I mean, like I told you, it was an answers to prayers. That same company we started this year, the federal government of Nigeria called us and gave us an award. Our product success tab was given the Tablet of the Year award, Education Tablet of the Year award. I was called up to Abuja to go and receive the award. That was really, really amazing for us. And a couple of other fantastic happenings going on here and there. A validation that these things, and eventually when I even had my 40th birthday last year, the Honorable Commissioner for Education, honored us, and a couple of other dignitaries. So excuse me. So please, all I do want to say is that we need to take action in line with the vision, and we need to stay on course. Every vision will be tested. Now, when I finished university, the first test came. My mom told me, why not go to the UK for your master's? And I told her clear and plain and said, I already started my company and that's what I want to do. And it was shocking. And I was very, very clear about that. So it's good that you use this season to find out clearly what is it that you are called to do. And when you have ascertained that that's exactly what it is, you need to stay on course. So that was the first test. Now, every vision faces challenges. So you need what they call resolute determination. You need to persist in the face of daunting challenges, obstacles, and oppositions. That is very important. Now, eventually when we started the company, cash flow wasn't so solid at that time. And I just heard somebody, I was staying in their place at that point in time, trying to suggest I go and take a job. By just giving me that advice, 2 days afterwards, I just politely told the individual, please, I'll be leaving your house so that it doesn't look like because I'm here, that's why you're trying to advise me. And the individual was quite sincere, in quotes. And he said, Koyejo, you had 2-1. And you have a good result. Why are you doing this? You know what I was doing that time? I was hawking Success Box. Success Box was a product that we developed. And I was hawking from one tutorial center to another tutorial center. I was walking under the hot sun, jumping into buses, sweating all around. And when she saw me, she was like, no, Koyejo, you can't do this. You can't do this to yourself. Computer science, 2-1, hawking Success Box. Koyejo, wake up. And, the enemy of the great is actually the good. So I told myself, if it's this advice I'm going to receive here, please, I do not want to receive this kind of advice any longer. Eventually, the person apologized, but the case is history. But what am I saying is that we were ready to face what will come because it was very, very clear that this is exactly what we should be doing. And so please, I want us to stay on course. I have just about 5 minutes to go on this presentation, but this is exactly the crux of the matter. You need adequate planning. You need to discover yourself in the process. You need to take action. Please start little. We started with 0 naira, and today God has been faithful, very, very faithful. And we just started with a compelling vision that God put in our hearts. So let it be a vision not fueled by your ambitions, but a vision that's in line with God's ultimate plan and program for your life. Then also you need resolute determination. Like I said, I cannot talk about that. You need to be very firm. You need to be very consistent. Now, apart from people even opposing you, you have a lot of distractions around you, a lot. Just early on this year, I had a privilege to pick up a job that will pay 149 million every year as a salary. 149 million every year. That was very tempting, $400,000. So I started the process, and I had to call myself back. I said, Koyejo, you're going out of course. You're going out of course, correctly out of course. And I had to, terminate that process to stay on course. And in all humility, we have way more than that. way more than that. I just imagined if I had focused on that and the big thing that we would have just lost because we were looking at the financial gains. So what were we trying to do? We wanted to play smart. We said, okay, well, since this one is remote, we'll just, make some money on this side and still be here. Well, maybe it works for others. But for me, it says, if your eye be single, your whole body is full of light. So you give it what it takes. All the dexterity, all the focus, all the attention, because you know that you want to get to the summit of. And I tell you, I have way 10 times more than that on the pipeline right now. So that is not even something I want to even think about forever. So what am I saying is that then another thing I'm going to say is that you need to have an empire in your vision, an empire in your purpose. So you have to have a very strong big picture thinking. You have to be very, very articulate. Then you have to hold God very strongly, because the Bible says, without me, you can do nothing. So it's just a summary. Like I said, the vision is there, the planning is there, the execution is there, then you hit the goal. Don't forget, we're talking about successfully planning and executing to achieve the goal. So we've talked about all of these things. And let me close with these various pictures of people here. Yes, from my right and from my left, you see Mary Slessor, visionary. When people were killing twins, they said, no, that's not supposed to be. It was not the trend. And she actually saved this country, a part of this country that was into that. We saw the man that allowed human beings to think beyond the earth. That's John F. Kennedy. He said that in a decade, America should prepare to land a man in the moon and return him safely. And he galvanized a whole country with a clear vision and a mandate to put a man on the moon and bring him back. And you see the guy here, just below Mary Slessor and below John F. Kennedy to my left, maybe to your right of your screen. That's the guy that we all call I have a dream. I have a dream that one day this nation, will have people that rule us that are not based by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. Martin Luther King, and that's exactly what it is in America. Although there's still some grounds to cover, but you'll be certain that a good portion of that dream has been achieved. Then if you go top, you see an old looking man. That's the guy they call Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was bold and said slavery has to stop in America. Slavery was one of the biggest industries at that time. Slavery was the backbone of the American economy because people used slaves for, hard labor and the likes. And he said, no, they have to be equality. These people are humans. And Abraham Lincoln is still one of the greatest presidents that ever ruled America. In fact, when Barack Obama took office, what Barack Obama did was simple. He called for the same Bible Abraham Lincoln used about over 100, 200 years ago, and that was what he used to take oath of office. Well, I don't know what he did afterwards because I'm not a fan of him. Okay, so I know some of you like him, but maybe not me. All right. Then, yes, my very good friend, Bill Gates, mentor, friend, somebody I really inspire. These are role models, the people that saw, computing. In fact, Bill Gates wrote a book in 1995. I have that book. It's called The Road Ahead. In that book, he said, predictively, so they are perfect in every industry, not only in churches. They are perfect in academics, they are perfect in software, they are perfect, in human development, like that they can see the future clearly. And he said that the time will come that you will lose any of your item and your wristwatch will tell you where it is. It looks really, really vague at that time, but today we have smartwatches in line with what he said in 1995 when the internet was just about to start. Then we have Nelson Mandela. I've talked about him. Then this guy I really like so much, Elon Musk, just below Nelson Mandela. And he's really, really moving the frontiers. It's, making things that looks impossible, very, very impossible, very, very possible. Then finally, I end with a woman, Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks, when I heard her story this year, I was very excited. Those days after, Lincoln allowed slaves to go free, all that the slaves could do was do menial jobs. They do cleaning for people, they do house helps, they do laundry for the whites so they can earn a living. And because of that, there's what you call segregation. There was apartheid in South Africa, there was segregation in America. So when they were going to meet when she was going to work every day, she had to always sit in the bus. And because she was Black, anytime a white person enters the bus, she had to stand up. It was mandatory. I used to do that when I was in primary school. Those days I stayed in Akonjo side and my primary school was in Ikeja. So 6 o'clock, we have to enter Molwe early in the morning. And, smart boys like me now, I don't want to spend my transport fare. So I'll quickly get a seat. So when I see an elderly person, oh, it's a pleasure, it's a pleasure. It's not out of respect because I know that, my transport is saved. But suddenly Rosa Parks decided that, no, enough of all this nonsense. So when she got into the bus one day, she was like, no, I'm not going to get up. It was like, this is not going to happen. She said, I'm not standing up of this bus. And she refused to stand up. They took her to the police station. She was jailed. Now, when eventually they released her, she started coming late to work. And her bosses were like, why are you coming late to work? She said, well, I have to trek because I don't get into the bus. Then that single act of defiance, of refusing to stand up with the boss, just suddenly woke up the entire Black in America. And everybody began to protest. Now, that was where some of the people like, Martin Luther King continued the journey from there. Rosa Parks passed away last year, if I'm not mistaken, and just tell you what people can do when, So I told you, you look outside, it could be something that, should have just remained, a dishwasher for the rest of her life. And remember how many of our colleagues' dishwashers have just existed and disappeared. But she said, no, enough of all of this. And she stood her ground. So what am I saying? In all of this, friends, we need to ask ourselves some very, very basic questions. And that basic question is some very, very simple things. As we go on, and as I close, there's some 3 things we need to understand. We need God, we need God, and we need God. So you want to ask me that, oh, there's some people that actually achieve their vision, and it doesn't seem that they know God. So how did they do it? Now, it's what I call the principles of Jesus and the persons of Jesus. Please take note. The principles of Jesus will work for any donkey. It's accessible by anybody. All that they teach in Harvard, they're all principles, and all business schools, they're all principles that call from the scriptures. But the persons of Jesus gives you validity, gives you it gives you strength. Now, but there are some people that only focus on the persons of Jesus, and they don't embrace his principles. So they struggle in life, and they're the very best spiritual people, but they really don't have anything to show for it. Why? Because they have not learned the principles, and they have not embraced the principles. And those principles are just as powerful as anything else. The principles are universal. The principles are accessible by anybody. But when you merge the principles of Jesus with the persons of Jesus, what happens? It makes you formidable. It gives you capacity. And in this day and age where you have opposition, not from flesh and blood, you have what they call the resistance capacity. You have what they call the staying power to be able to fulfill, the mandate and the vision that you have. So to cut a very long story short, there are some people here that know that, okay, so before I round up, let me also say this. And let me say this very, very clearly. There are a lot of young people on this call. That's why I'm going to say this. Nigeria is 1% or less than 1% of all the problems that is hindering you from fulfilling your vision. I must tell you, the devil is less than 1%. So what am I saying? In essence is we need to take personal responsibility to actualize our visions and to actualize our goals. And do not give any excuse. Hold forth, be tenacious, be consistent, and in no distant time, you will reach your goals. But if you have been held down by one thing or the other that's held you back over the years, it's important you connect with heaven and hold on to God and reunite with him and ask him for grace, and specifically take your questions to him concerning your purpose question, your vision question, and how to go about life. And you'll be shocked that he will give you direction. So I want to say this. I'm going to drop my email address on this call. We are about 38 of us, plus myself making 39. And you want to be able to articulate this year. You want this year to be different from other years. And you want to get serious in your walk with God so that you can fulfill your God-given dreams and visions. I'd like you to connect with us, and so that we can meaningfully drive this together, and so that we can reach our goals. I'm excited about some of the young people that have come across our path, and they're doing excellent things where they are. And I want to just say that the goal is to ensure that we're able to impact as many people as possible to reach their God-given dreams. I've just sent my email address. Shoot me an email and just say, yes, I want to fully connect with Jesus so that I can, make the most of my adventure in life. And we'll take the conversation from there. Trust me, I'm going to connect with you directly, and so that we can walk this road together to greatness. So thank you very much, everybody. I hope that this session has been very exciting. I remain Oluwakoyejo Oluwatosin, convener of the CONFAB. Thank you very much. Over to the moderator for the other parts of the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm sure it was as insightful for everyone else as it was for me. It's been a 40 minutes thereabout of power, and I really hope that we have all been taking notes. I would before we move to the question and answer session, I would like us to just take some 30 seconds, right? Just look through your notes. I want you to ruminate over everything you've heard. I don't want it to be one of those messages you just listened to. I don't want it to be one of those talks you just listened to. So we're going to take 30 seconds, right? Look at your notes. Just think. Just go over everything. Go over from the beginning of the session till the very end. I want you to just walk through again in your mind. Let it sink. Let it make sense. Any part of it that doesn't make sense, note it. We're going to get to a question and answer session where you're going to ask your question. Just soak it in, right? We're not going to do 2022 like we did 2021. We're going to do it differently, right? And these are the tools we have just received. So I want you to let it sink. From here, we're going to take a short prayer and then we'll move on to the next session. Father, thank you because of the privilege to have received at your feet. We thank you because it's not a coincidence that we're here, and it's not a coincidence that we have heard these things. We pray that you give us the grace to execute these and to apply them in our lives, and that these words will not fall to the ground void, but that they will yield fruits in our lives, in our hearts, in our year. Thank you, Lord, because you have answered. For in Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. All right. Okay. So we are going to take a question and answer session right away. But before we go there, I would be sharing a okay, I'm just going through some of the messages that are being sent. Okay, so I'll be sharing a link now to everyone. So it's the participation form, right? I would need every one of us to please fill that form to signify our participation in this session today, and then so that we can ensure that we have everyone properly databased, so that we can keep reaching out to you with more information and to keep the family growing. So the form is there. I'm going to let me see if I can pin the form. Okay, I cannot, but I have just dropped the link. So from time to time I'll keep dropping that link so that we can fill it. So we can all signify our participation. All right. Before we take questions, I will just quickly walk through. So the session was basically about writing your vision, right? But then we backed up and said, before you can get your vision, you need to find your purpose, because your vision is an offshoot of your purpose, or your vision is derived off of your purpose. So the flow is purpose, vision, and then from your vision you draw out a plan, and then it's with that plan that you now execute, right? So we talked about how to find your purpose. We talked about looking up, looking in, and then looking out. So looking up, we're looking up to God. We're seeking direction from Him. We're looking in to find out our innate potentials, the gifts that God has given us, and then we're looking out to see how we can impact our immediate environment. So Nelson Mandela, for example, he looked out and saw how that apartheid was ravaging South Africa, and that the imbalance was not what it should be. So that was where he derived the decision from, and he began to impact his society. So it feels like it's a straightforward thing, right? Look up, look in, look out. Find your purpose, find your vision, plan. But I'm sure you know, right? It goes beyond just words. It's a bit more complex than that, and that is why we are going to keep on having sessions like this to keep helping us on this journey of self-discovery. Self-discovery is not a one-day thing. It's not a one-week thing. It's probably not even a one-month thing. Self-discovery is a journey that would happen all through our lives, or at least for a good part of our lives. And it is on that journey that we'll find ourselves, we'll find our purpose, find our vision. And even after finding your purpose and your vision, I don't think self-discovery ends there. Self-discovery is a journey that we pretty much carry on, all through our lives. So without further, I would like to take, so if you have any question, please just signify. You can raise a hand, and and I would allow you to unmute so you can ask your questions. So if you have any questions, please signify if you have something you'd like to say, or it can be questions from this session, it can be questions from previous sessions we've had. I mean, the Confab 12. Okay, I see Oluwatobi. Any other questions? So if you have any questions, just signify. Oluwatobi, I would allow you to unmute now so you can take your question. You can unmute yourself now, Oluwatobi.
Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Please, I would want to know what is the aim and objective of this confab, because I just stumbled on it yesterday, and then this morning while I was just browsing, I just discovered that a meeting was holding and I subscribed to it. So I want to know, what is the aim, what's the objective, what's the goal of this confab? That's the question. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Pastor Koyejo, would you take it or should I take that?
Yeah, I think you should just take it quickly.
Okay. So the confab is a 10-year-old platform, 11 years this year, that was set up for youths, young adults, to help them maximize and reach their full potential. That is a short summary, right? But to break it down, the confab is a development platform to help breed well-rounded individuals. So well-rounded as per, we're talking spiritually, we're talking financially, we're talking relationship-wise, we're talking, yes, spiritually, financially, socially, and in your interactions with people. So one of the confabs, we've had 12 confab sessions so far. I'm not talking Zoom sessions, I'm talking events, right? The first happened in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. And we've had sessions up until now. Actually, we've had 13 if we're going to count the Confab 12 special. Now, the theme of one of them was relationships, getting it right. So that was what we talked about. Selecting a life partner. So I'm using this as a reference because we're not just talking about career. We're not just talking about how to build wealth. We're not just talking about. We're also very invested in your in who you spend the rest of your life with. We're invested in kind of friends you keep. So it's think of it as a family that is dedicated to your growth, a family out of your biological family that is dedicated to building you and helping you to reach your full potential. So I assume that this is your first encounter with us, and it's a pleasure to have you on board. And we would be in touch with you, and you would get to fully understand what the confab is all about and experience it in your life as well as we go along. Does that answer your question?
Okay, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the confab family. Moses Popola, I see you raising up your hand, so you can unmute yourself now.
Okay, sir. I want to ask that what are we to send to the email? Wait, Pastor Koyejo said, sir. Did you get me?
Yes, I got the question. I'm hoping that Pastor Koyejo will attend to that.
Okay.
Okay, yes. The email is actually yes, for those of us that have listened to the session and you found out that you have been quite not consistent in your work with God, and that has hampered in the fulfillment of your vision and dreams. So just send me an email and let's see how we can work these parts together. And so I can share some thoughts with you on how to, have that consistent, walk with God and properly, define, articulate where you want to be and trust the God to make it happen. So, so it's more like a reconnection back to God. Email that you're sending, and it's to me directly, and we will now begin to have conversations in that regard. So that's the email. That's the email. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any other questions? If you do, please signify with a show of hands. If not,
there's some that might want to just type their questions rather than ask.
Fantastic.
That's possible.
Okay, so if you have your question and you would like to send it in, please, I think you can send it to the Confab email. I'll drop that email in the chat now. Or should they send your email, Pastor Koyejo?
No, I think to the chat. They can send the chat.
Okay, to the chat. Okay, great. If you can, if you want to send your question to the chat, please do that. Or if you want to send the question directly,
private one.
If you want to send it directly, please, you can do that as well.
Yeah, then also too, if you have other personal questions that you want us to discuss about, that's my personal email. You can send it to me. Then we can also discuss that as well. If you have a personal conversation that you want us to have together, so you can also drop the Confab email as well. But if you also want to reach out to me directly, why not? You have a formula on the call for a hands are raised up.
Okay, please, Fumilola, you can unmute yourself.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Fumilola.
Thank you for the presentation, Mr. Koyejo. At the first 4 slides, I was not fully participating because I had to interact with someone who called in for official reasons. But my question is, you were talking about your 10-year plan that you had just as you got into the higher institution. And those plans were the things that carried you through. Then you also talked about discovering oneself, that sometimes the things we don't like doing are the things that kind of show us the path to move out, to know that those ones we should just knock them out. But when you knock those ones out, how will you actually find out or confirm that, okay, these are the ones that are the pointers to where I'm going? Because you talked about looking up, looking in, so I can't pick the third one.
And looking out.
Looking out, okay. So sometimes, sorry to go personal. While I was in school, I always loved lecturing, because even then I used to do tutorials for my classmates in my accounting class. But I don't know, since I left school and I didn't have funds to probably run a master's and then probably get into the forwards of the academia and then get a certificate that will be able to enable me. Like, I lost that interest. But I now look at it that it was something I liked doing. Was it that it was just because I was in that setting then? That was why I loved doing it? Or was it just that it was not something that was meant for me? Sorry that I'm being personal, but I kind of asked myself those questions, because even then it was part of the thing I told my partner, that I would love to lecture because I love doing it. But some things didn't fall out the way I wanted, and I can't find myself having that passion anymore. I hope my question is clear.
Yes, I believe your question is very clear. Pastor Koyejo.
All right, thank you very much, Fumilola. Yes, like I said something, most times the things that we're not excited about a pointer to the things that are not in line with our overall purpose, and most of the times. And the things that don't go away are most likely those things that, you know, are deeply inside us, that calls us to do what we should do. Okay. So having said that, we just need to ask ourselves some very few questions, just in line with what you just said. How do I go about it? So from the storyline you shared, I just have an understanding that you have a passion for lecturing. You even told your spouse about it, but there were prevailing conditions that didn't allow you to carry on to fruition. And it's a very important aspect in vision fulfillment. While I was talking, I talked about every vision will be tested. Now, the reason why God tests us as a carriers of vision is to authenticate our vision and to test and to validate it in us. Okay, so what do I mean to say is that you had some challenges, as saying, oh, I couldn't do a master's program. I didn't have the finance at that point in time. And somehow you just gave up. Okay, so that was where you cut off from that line. Now, even till today, when you heard about vision and passion and all that, you still remember that, oh, you had something called lecturing that you wanted to do. So now the question you ask yourself now, how do I go about that? Okay, so you're not alone in this trajectory. I had a mentor of mine. He was in his early 60s at that time. And he gets up as early as 6:30 in the morning. He works late at night. I mean, I was just fresh from university. So one day I just walked up to him. I said, if you have an opportunity to live again, what would you do? And he told me, point and plain, if I had an opportunity to live again, I would want to lecture because that's always been my life. And you know what he does right now? He has a training company. So he didn't lecture in a university, but he has been able to develop a training outfit where he still expresses that passion. Now, let me even tell you this. Just 2 years ago, he registered for his PhD, and he just bagged his PhD, and a university has adopted him as a visiting lecturer. So what am I saying? That goal of him wanting to lecture and impact knowledge, though he's in his mid-60s, he's seeing that vision come to pass. So what am I saying is, Lola, is still not late. Put yourself together, and this is still not going to go because you are still asking a question in 2022. So maybe, and now there are lots of private universities today that will need people to provide these resources. So what do? Do you want, so you have to just, and right now, you know, maybe you wanted to set up your family, produce children, and now go back to your master's program, then continue from where you stopped. It's still not too late. Fumilola, just want to be sure that these questions have been clearly answered. Lola.
Yes, let me. Fumilola, I just allowed you to unmute. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Sir, may I also add some?
Oh, why not? Go ahead. Oh, yes, why not, please?
Okay. I think, well, going by what Pastor K, talked about in this session as well. This is in response to you, Fumilola. I think that the purpose thing and the vision thing is not a sprint; it's a marathon, right? So maybe lecturing it is not the thing in itself. Maybe it is knowledge impartation or touching people's lives through teaching, right? So maybe lecturing will be the end goal, but because of the fact that it's a marathon, you can step it, you can break it down into processes. So like Pastor K just gave us an example of someone who started a training institute, and then right now he's a lecturer, the thing he really wanted to do, but it took a span of a couple of years. So I think that where there's a will, there's a way. So if you identify that that is really what you want to do, I'm sure that you can draw up a plan with even the resources that you have, and then scale up from there. Pastor Koyejo, for example, he was hawking Success Tab at some point. The vision was not to hawk Success Tab, of course. The vision was definitely to, touch lives in a seamless way so that people and students can be well equipped for exams, without having to constantly be in school or having to afford tuition fees. The Success Tab is an all-in-one package. So, but the steps on that journey included hawking at some point, included having an office at the back of the house in one corner. But those are the steps, and the vision remains. We know what the end goal is, and the vision. So it is those. It is that end vision that would now direct the decisions you make today. I will now direct such that, so if you see something else that is not on course, for example, Pastor K got a job or was pushed to take job offers, but because of the fact that this is not in line with the end goal, even though I'm not at the end goal yet, but the little resources I have, I would try to channel them in that direction. And it is the progress you make in that direction that will open the doors for the next steps, and will help you finally get to the point where you want to get to.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Godwin.
Thank you very much. Oh, okay. I think you're muted, Pastor K. Okay, you
Yes,
can
thank you
unmute
very
now.
much. Because of time, we won't just keep this as a 1 hour, 30-minute session and nothing more. So
Okay.
permit us to draw the curtain at this point in time.
All right.
I'm sure that we are good. We really appreciate everybody that came for this. We will have a confab series for February, first Saturday, like we did. We're going to get a very powerful speaker. Just wait for it. We're going to let you know who that person will be, and we want to just keep inspiring ourselves. So if this session has been of a vital importance to you, if it has impacted you, please tag a few of your friends next session. And yes, then Confab 13 is coming up. Yes, Chidi, you want to talk about that for just 10 seconds, and then let's wrap up today's meeting.
Pastor K, I think you should talk about that.
Okay,
please.
okay.
Yes, please. Okay, so especially because of the theme, I would want you to give us, a
Right,
bit
so
of a robust.
we would be having Confab 13, and it's the theme. It's leading the revolution, mindset transformation, big picture thinking, and taking action. So we're going to have some very A-list speakers, and it's going to be really, really, yeah. And it's going to be on the 30th of July.
Saturday.
On Saturday, 2022. So get ready. And we are going to be jam-packed. So it's going to be first come, first serve. I'm sure by 8 o'clock, people are going to be there seated already. And yes, so it promises to be really, really exciting. But like we said, please go and, set very big goals, dream very big dreams, trust the Almighty God to make it happen. And please talk to us at any time T. Please drop the confab email as well, so that then.
Okay, so
yes.
Please go ahead when you're done.
So that's that about that. Once again, I want to thank everybody for making our time to come. And so I'll see you on the first Saturday. What's the date of the first Saturday? In yes. The first Saturday.
The first Saturday in February is
the date. The
5th.
The 5th. Okay. January has 5 Mondays, 5 Saturdays, and 5 Sundays. So welcome to a very long January. So I think that will allow us to plan a lot. So on the 5th of February, we are back here by 10 o'clock, and we'll do just for 1 hour, 30 minutes, and we're done and dusted. Thank you very much for everyone. Over to Chidi for the final closing.
Thank you all very much for being a part of today. I can see someone requesting to have today's video. We're going to send the link out via email. We're also going to send out the link to the slides. Pastor K, I believe you can give us that as well.
Yes. All of that.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So we're going to be getting the
make
slides.
Sure that you are registered on the
video.
Make sure that you fill the participants registration form. That's where we'll send all.
Yes, please. Yes, please. So we'll need you to, if you haven't already filled the participants registration form, please do that. I'm going to send it again, but it's in the chat. I sent it a couple of times. So just fill. I see that 20 people have filled. We still have about
Can you resend it again so that yeah.
Okay. I just did. So all right. I think that will be all. For the new Confabians joining us today, we really appreciate you for being a part of the family, and we're so happy to have you here. If you are just joining us for the first time, you can also indicate it in the form. So there's a field that will allow you to type a paragraph. So just please indicate that this is your first confab experience, so that I can follow up with you properly and ensure that you are well integrated into the family. I would also like to especially thank Oluwakoyejo Oluwatosin. I don't know if he's still on the call. Yes, he's on the call. I'm going to allow you to unmute if you can hear us. He was very first to join in on the call. Could you just briefly just introduce yourself so we can meet you? Hi, Shagun. Can you?
Yeah. I'm Oluwakoyejo Oluwatosin. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Yeah, I actually got to know about Confab. That was last year. I got introduced by a friend. I attended the Confab 12, but I was unable to attend the Confab 12 special due to change in date and the likes, which was really very impactful. And this as well was actually impactful as well. I hope to attend more of this and also get to impact other lives as well. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for being for keeping to time and for being the very first to join on the call. It's a pleasure to have you, and thank you all very much for joining us today. We thank God for the success of this session, and this is going to be the first of many others. Before we leave, we'll just say a very quick word of prayer, and then we can call it a day. Thank you, Lord, for the privilege to have gathered together here. Lord, we pray that this family will keep growing, and this family will keep doing the purpose for which you have called it, to impart lives and to help people reach their peak, reach their potentials. As we go about the year, pray that your presence will go with us and you help us to, at the end of the year, have full cause to give glory to your holy name. Thank you, Lord, for having answered. For in Jesus' name we have prayed. Happy New Year, everybody. I wish us all a blissful year, and may the year bring forth only good tidings for every one of us. I think you can unmute yourselves, and everybody can unmute themselves. Let's all wish one another Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Wish you a blissful 2022.
Yeah, so as we leave the session, just send us a word, how this session impacted you. Yes, just before you sign out, thank you very much. Let's just get some feedbacks on the chat box. Thank you very much. Yeah, moderator.
I'm also dropping the confab email, so you can reach out to us at any time, but we'll definitely reach out to you as well. So you can always the emails you'll be getting, you can just see the email there, and that is the official confab email. But then I'll drop it again here in the chat box, so that the confab01@gmail.com. So at any time, at any point in time, feel free to reach out to us, and with any information, any guidance, anything you need. Pastor Koyejo's email is also in the chat box. So thank you all very much. Thank you for being a part of this. God bless every one of you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful time. Just keep your comments coming in. Thank you very much.
I see Eunice Obidi. I see Victory Maxine. Just keep your comments coming. God bless everybody.
Hello, Chidi, can you just transfer the host back to me so I can pause? Yeah, thank you. Hello, Chidi, can you? Yes. Hello, Chidi, can you transfer host?
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, so I can just.
Take us.
Thank you.